The idea of veganism and animal rights theories is often associated with thinkers like Peter Singer and Tom Regan. However, these ideas did not begin there. We can trace them back to Indian traditions and religions, as well as to the Pythagoras or his school, which also held similar beliefs regarding animals. More specifically, I will be discussing veganism and the animal liberation movement as a political theory, structured much like many others. The animal liberation movement can best be understood through the works of Peter Singer. In his book on the subject, he provides a clear explanation in the introduction that goes something like this. The animal liberation movement, therefore, is not saying that all lives are of equal worth or that all interests of humans and other animals are to be given equal weight. No matter what those interests may be, it is saying that where animals and humans have similar interests, we might take the interest in avoiding physical pain as an example. For it is an interest that humans clearly share with other animals. Those interests are to be counted equally, with no automatic discount just because one of the beings is not human. A simple point, no doubt, but nevertheless part of a far-reaching ethical revolution. Now, this definition or introduction gives us a clear sense of what the discourse is about. By reading the works of those involved in the movement, we also find a perspective that often stands in opposition to religious conceptions of human existence. There is a strong critique of biblical and religious authority, particularly a rejection of the values associated with the Abrahamic traditions, Judaism, Christianity, or Islam. This is one point we find in the authors writing in support of veganism. However, I do not want to focus here on what religions think about this issue or whether they provide a satisfactory answer. My concern is that although many of us have placed this theory on a high pedestal, it seems to fall short at several points. Perhaps I can highlight some of these shortcomings in this video. The first idea that animals have rights is a fair point, and few would deny it. A person responsible for an animal they own is obliged to care for its health, diet, and overall well-being. The difficulty arises not with this idea, but with the claim that animals should be placed on an equal footing with humankind. Singer, for instance, would likely argue that if it is wrong to harm a newborn baby who has no concept of rights or justice, then the same logic must apply to animals. This is indeed a strong point, and similar arguments have been made to compare the life of a human being with the life of an animal. The primary question to be asked, I think, is this: what faculty guides us in distinguishing ourselves from animals? Is it simply the mind, the capacity to define and reflect, that sets us apart, or is there something else, perhaps more intrinsic, that truly separates us from the animal world? To answer this, it seems clear that animals do not possess the same sense or capacity for emotions that human beings do. For instance, we find cases of cannibalism in numerous species. In spiders, the female may kill the male once he is no longer useful. Among birds, the stronger offspring are often favored, while weaker chicks may be thrown from the nest and left to die. Countless such examples, may even harsher than these, can be found in the animal world. For this, it is difficult to find evidence of any moral sense at work. What we do see instead is a pattern of behavior shaped by survival and by the natural design of their relations with one another. The point I have tried to emphasize is this: although there is much more to discuss, one thing seems clear: there is no evident sense of animal dignity within the animal world itself. If suffering is to matter equally, we must ask, for whom is this equality of concern meant to apply? Many further questions arise. For example, if a family includes members with severe cognitive impairments, could one even justify selective killing among them? Is the worth of all human beings the same, or does it differ? These questions can be debated in isolation and have been addressed by many past thinkers. And so, I'm not going to focus on those, but here my focus, however, is on the ordinary case. When a single moral framework is applied to both animals and humans, I struggle to find compelling reasons to accept it. I want to learn more about new ideas and contemporary perspectives on the issue as it stands I do not think a utilitarian foundation can sustain the political doctrine of the animal rights movement, or more broadly, the philosophy of veganism, over the long term. So far, I have not found a strong reason to believe in it. Surely then, the rights of animals are different from those of humans. What we can argue for more effectively is the proper care and well-being of cows, chickens, and other farm animals. I have not, in this discussion, addressed questions on religious grounds, debates about moral status, medical considerations, or other arguments often raised in this area. Since those move in somewhat different directions from what I want to focus on here, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I welcome you to share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you so much for watching.